Okay, so tonight's little project is going to start off on the rotary table. Now, I didn't strictly plan on showing you this particular part. I just figured I would grab the rotary table by hand and throw it up on the mill because it's a little bit lighter than the other one, but it dawned on me that this is my first opportunity to use my new and improved hoist or crane that I've kind of cobbled together out here. This is one of the things I've added since I actually started with this little crane system out here. And this back here. So before, I just had the winch itself right there on the end of the hook, and I've since welded on this little pulley, I guess you'd call it, so that I could make it into a real life crane of sorts. So it's been a long time since I've done a video on the construction of this thing. If I remember, I'll try to put a link to the original build of this in my description. But at any rate, I just wanted to take a few minutes to show you this while I get it tossed up on the mill. And then I'll bring you over and kind of give you the rundown of what I'm going to try and do as far as with the rotary table on my little hinge project. So for this little bit of the project, I'm just gonna clamp you guys here in the vise, hopefully without hurting the phone. Maybe I'll clamp you in the vise if I can get the right. There. Okay. I'm going to block the shot a little bit, but you'll kind of get the idea. That's all she wrote for that. Okay, I'll take you guys over there and get you set up on the real camera mount, and I'll kind of give you some idea of what it is I'm trying to do with this. If I've got the clearance. I don't even know for sure if I'll have enough clearance to pull this off the way I want to, so we shall see. This will be a bit of an experiment. Okay, that should work. Okay, so since I didn't get the opportunity to really show you guys what I wound up with at the end of yesterday's video, I'll start off with that. The final thing I wound up doing last night was getting this channel cut open. So obviously these all need to be rounded off, radiused. These outer edges or corners need to be radiused. But the big thing that I want to try and mess with tonight is, let's see how to orient this. Trying to put a big sweeping radius through this. Now the drawing calls out for an 1.25 inch radius. So what I'm going to try and do, and I'm probably going to have to do some of it freehand, and even at that I don't think it's going to blend in quite the way it would if it were an actual casting. The idea is I'm going to try and get it on the rotary table and use the rotary table to get the big sweeping radius with there it is. This oh geez, I lost my train of thought. Boring head? Yeah, with my El Cheapo boring head. I've got just a real simple cutter that I'm going to try and put in it, and I'm going to try and get this set up for my 1.25 inch radius. And that part I haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to manage that yet. But I'm still not even sure if I'm going to have enough room to get this guy to the center of the rotary table and have enough clearance on the backside of the head of the mill to do this yet. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this video, but there's a possibility that I might scrap this idea entirely just due to, a number of unknown factors. So if that's the case, then I'll just take and hit this with a grinder and clean that all up. But first things first, I would like to at least try and do it with the rotary table. And if I can, what I'm probably going to wind up doing, since this doesn't have the worm gear drive that a lot of the other rotary tables have, I'm going to basically index it, or give it a series of facets. So hit it from this position, rotate it to, I can't remember what, 15 or so degrees. I think this thing will rotate 15 degrees at a time, and then hit it again, 15 degrees, hit it again, and just keep going around until I've got a radius all the way around this thing. So the other thing that I may have to do is kind of freehand my x-axis back away from it or closer to the cutter in the process of this to actually get something approximately the shape I want it to be. But we'll see. I don't know. This is a big, complete experiment. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to have to finish this out with a grinder at any rate. I'll just try to remove as much of the material as quickly as I can with this, plus it gives me an opportunity to use this rotary table. The other thing is, so the actual cast piece is supposed to have a radiused pocket in here, and that is going to be one detail that I'm going to completely omit. I figured, I kind of came up with an idea in my head of how I could possibly get like a boring bar system set up through here, but it'd be so time consuming and so fidgety, it's just not worth it. So I'm just going to leave this flat and try to get all the external dimensions pretty darn close to what they're supposed to be. But my next thing is trying to get this mounted on here. I've got a piece of steel behind me. I'm going to try and mount the piece of steel and then drill and tap and mount this to it, but I'm going to do that off camera because it'll be very time consuming and very fidgety. And well, as you guys found out from the last video, I can only record so long before my phone just shuts off. Last night I had forgotten to delete the previous video, so I only had a little bit of time at my disposal. So anyways, I'll go upload this video, I'll start working on getting this mounted, and then I will bring you guys back out and hopefully shoot a little bit more video once I got it mounted. So until then.